Oh, not Python Crash Course.
No, coding scheme. Coding scheme is the name of the workspace.
.com. What?
No, when you go onto Slack, just share your screen so that we can do it together.
No, it's fine. I'll get it right.
Okay. So on Thursday, I asked you guys to create a search function or write a search function that given two arguments, your iterable object and the key that you're looking for, and the function should return the position of the key in that iterable or -1 otherwise, right? So since nothing was done, I guess we'll just go through it through the whole thing just now. Just a moment. Yeah. So I'm going to take guidance from you as we do it. I think will it be the only thing we do today? We'll see. We'll see. So yeah, so what are your guys' thoughts on how to solve the problem? Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
It looks like Gosinat is saying something, but it's
Yeah.
What do you say? Hey. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, man. Hey. Thought I was sharing my screen. Cool. Can you guys see my screen? Jack. Go snatch. Is it my internet or you guys' internet now? I don't know anymore. Yo.
Yes.
Hey, you sound like you're dying, man.
Yes, I am.
Yo, Nati, can you raise your volume a bit? What is it, dog?
This guy's flu so bad he had to mute his mic.
Yeah, so I'm saying I need your guidance in solving this problem, right? So even if you were just to explain how you would solve it without code, right? So you're given, so you have this list here, right? In this example at the top, you have this list, and you are looking for this number 6, right? How would you go about solving the problem? Yo. Jack.
Yes, level.
I'm saying, so you have this list here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just without thinking about the code that you'll be writing in this block over here. How would you go about solving it? Just talk through it, and let's see how that helps us in solving the actual problem.
Level, please explain what we are
Which
required to do.
I said this is a search function, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you are given some kind of iterable. So it can be a list, a tuple, it can be a string, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something that you can iterate on. And then you're given a key. This key is the thing that you are searching inside our iterable, right? So if it's a list, you'll be finding the correct the entry in the list. But if it's a string, you'll be looking for a character in the
Or in the string.
in the string, right? And if it's a tuple, same thing as you would do with a list, right? So if you find that particular thing, that particular, let's say like now here, let's look at this one. You're searching for B, right? For this one. Then you find that, oh, B is in position 2, which is at index 1. So you would return 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for this one here, it's 1 to 5, and we're searching for 6. But that means 6 is not found, right? If 6 is not found, then we want to return -1.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, how would you go about doing that? And now?
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So you can start by talking through how you do it just verbally, and then maybe that will help you put it into code, right? So yeah, you can just go over it, how you'd solve it.
Thing is, I'm not sure, Leo.
Yeah, just try.
I would go like, let's say for I.
Okay, for I.
In some iteration, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Then I'll do if I is equals to 6.
If I equals to 6.
Yes. Double equal sign.
6. Why 6?
Oh, equals to the key. We need to look for the key.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And if that's the case, what happens?
You return the key. Return the key.
But we already have the key.
No, you don't return the key. Okay.
That's a start. That's a start. We'll come back. We'll come back to this one. Sharp. Okay. Actually, no. Just continue. Continue. Yeah.
Well, we said that if the number is there, it has to give you that number, right?
Not that number. It has to give me the position of that number.
Oh yes. And you said we're not supposed to use indexing.
What do you mean?
That one of finding index of.
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to use any built-in function. You wouldn't be able to anyway. You wouldn't be able to use index, because index, if you don't find it, you'll get an error, and we haven't done error handling as yet, right? So So you wouldn't be able to solve the problem fully.
Okay. So
You gotta have a
Sorry? What are you saying?
for loop, I get.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I think
It's already
yeah,
there for loop.
if within a for loop, yeah. I was thinking the other way around.
Yeah, there.
Um,
So would need to, I'm just gonna give you, would need to keep the position of the position of, sorry, the position of the thing that you're looking at somehow, right? How would you do that?
well, I think maybe I could look for an iteration where that thing is equal to that, and then just figure out the number of the, what is it? So, for example, let me see. So in that, oof. But Lord, you hear what I'm saying?
No, I
No,
didn't hear what you're saying. What are
I'm
you
saying
saying?
I would look, let's say, for example, it's gonna iterate like, let's say, for the first time, second time, and third time.
Okay.
I could look for an iteration where it is equal to that, which means I'm
So
not
so
sure
so
how.
you wanna use range here so that you get the iteration. If we use range,
The problem with range is that if it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the iteration.
but you can make it so that that's the case, right? Like if we went from and then we went up to that, right? So we know that it starts from 0 to size -1, which is essentially what? Which is essentially like your index, right? Yeah, so when we do it this way, we have our index, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm telling you.
I'm not seeing it or where we have the index. How do you?
No, but if for I in range, the size of that thing, right, will start from 0 up until the size -1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, and that's 0 is, and it's will be 1. At 1 we'll get 2. At 3 we'll get 2. Sorry, here we'll get 1. Here we'll get 2. Here we'll get 3, and the size of this is 5. So we'll get up to 4. That's what I'm saying when we do it this way, right? Yeah. Or else when we do it the other way, when we do it for I in range some iteration, that gives us the value inside our iterable, right? Yeah. So you can choose either one, but there's you need to keep, like, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it this way. Alex, you guys should do the other one. So with this one, sorry. Yes, in here, yes, then you can return I here, right? But and this is wrong, right?
then you have to have an else.
Why?
Because then there is no iteration within the loop that satisfies that.
So no, I'm saying this is wrong because you're comparing the index and the key, but the key is not supposed to match the index. The key is supposed to match the something inside that list, not an index, right? So here would need to do something like that, right? So if we did that, right? Because we're comparing the position, not the position, the value in that position, right? Sorry? So that makes sense, right?
Oh yeah.
So we're going to do this solution, but you guys are going to have to do the other one where we use for I in, or for value in some iteration. That's what we're going to do next. So let's call this search 1, right? And then Yeah. So you're talking about an else statement. What are you saying about it?
Yeah, I can we want to account for the times where the value is not found.
Okay, well, so you need me to say else here.
Else return
Okay.
-1.
-1. Okay. Are you guys happy with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's see.
I'm not sure if it's done.
Let's see. I'm going to have that, right? So we have that, and then we want to search for A, right? See. Okay. Seems to be working, right?
Okay.
So let's try another one. Let's see. Let's just try and find one. That seems to be working too, right? Let's try and find 6, right? -1. Are we happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
So you're tricking us.
I am, because it doesn't work. So this one will be wrong. Wrong. You see that? -1, -1. You see that?
We are dying here. Wait, Leo.
We are dying. Yeah. Spot the problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
We need a break, I think.
I mean, what's the difference between a break and a return?
Okay.
No, yeah. What's the difference?
I actually don't know.
So it's so they kind of do the same thing. So meaning, not entirely though, but meaning when you return, there's no need for a break, right? So anything that's done here,
Oh yeah.
right? This won't work, right?
Yeah, once it gets to that value.
Yeah, it sends it back, and then you don't get anything. So there's no need to break. And if you break here, you won't get to that, right? You won't return anything. So by using a return, we're actually doing what we need. So if you're to use a break here, that means you need to return something outside. So we'll actually look at different variations of the solution, I guess, so that we can understand break and return better. We'll do it after this one. But yeah, so what's the problem with this solution? So okay, let me so what do they call that thing? Dry running, right? They call it dry running. So whereby you take a particular list or a particular something that you want to test with, right? And then you run the code in your head. Don't run it using Python. Run the code in your head. Just go over it, right? So that's what we're going to do now. So for this particular, we have this list, right? And then so we start here for I initially is 0. Then when we get here, right? What? What do you say? Jack?
It wasn't me.
No, I know it's Nkusinati, but he's quiet now. I just thought it was my side, but guess not.
No, he's still. Oh, you're checking if I'm. No, we can hear you.
No, I mean him. He said, "Oh," but he's not saying anything now. Maybe
He's still gathering his thought. He's coming back.
maybe his internet is dead. Yep.
No,
so-
it's not.
I missed the past 20 seconds.
You see, I told you. I'm saying you said our but we didn't hear what you said.
I didn't hear the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, the last 30 seconds was
Okay,
us asking you what you want to say because you huh?
Swelela.
Alright. So I'm saying when we first start our for loop, right? The initial value of our I is 0, right? So when we get here, we say, okay, some iteration at position 0, we get what? We get 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we say is 1 equal to, let's say for this one that failed, is I equals to 2, right? Right? Because our key would be 2. But that's false, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then as soon as, okay, since that is false, this else goes, this else runs. And then it returns, right? It returns -1. But then when it returns, it doesn't go back to the for loop. It doesn't start over. It's just, okay, I returned something. I'm actually not going to continue with my for loop. It gets out of the function, right?
Yeah.
So when do we actually want to return -1?
When the for loop itself returns nothing.
Yes. So how would you do that?
You just move else backward. No.
Yeah,
You just move return. You just remove else and then you move return backward.
So we do that, right?
Yeah.
So when we're done with our for loop,
Okay, continue.
I'm saying when we're done with our for loop, if we didn't return here, right, that means we will return there.
Yeah.
You see that? So we know that if our for loop completes without returning anything, that means that particular thing is not in our list or in our iterable, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now it should be fine. So 2 should be at position 1 there. So now it's fine. We're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to do another variation. I'm gonna call this search 2. And then we said we were not gonna use the size. We're actually going to use for some value in that, right? So now we want to compare the value to the key, right? But we still want to return I, right? So how do we get our I? Huh? No one? So here's a hint. Jack, you're on mute. So what are your thoughts?
Before we do return I, we're gonna do I is equals to I plus value.
Where?
Just below that one, yeah. Line.
Yeah.
Yeah, click enter, yeah.
I equals to?
You can do plus equal sign, then we put the value.
Plus equals value. Why are you adding the value?
Value, if value is equals to key, let's say for example looking for 2, it means at that point the value is 2.
Yeah.
And if I add 2 to 0,
you get
then
2.
Yes, then it will return that too.
But that's not your index.
Oh yes. Okay, forget what I just said. Yes. Oh. Okay.
And what would have happened if the our iterable is a string? Has strings rather, or is a string? Yeah, that means the characters in there are strings. So you'd be adding a number to a string, and that would, you know, what happens when you do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. Okay, delete that line. Let's go back to drawing table. Mm.
Do you see what I did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what's the comment on that?
Wait, let's start. Let me see first.
Stop it.
What's happening now? I haven't thought it's from Gosnati's side.
Me, I don't have a real internet.
So I'm saying, what does line 28 do, and why is it necessary for this problem?
Let's see.
I don't even know how you guys got here.
Well, Jack was just silent for a bit. Both of you were silent for a bit, and then
Yeah,
I wrote the line, and I'm saying, what's the line gonna do, and why should it be there?
Well, I know that, let's say for the first iteration.
Okay.
So for some value in that, so you look at the first value, and then after looking at that first value, by that time it will give it an index of 0.
Yeah.
Because it says return I. If the value is equal. So if it's the first value, it's fine, return I. And from there it will add 1. And then it does the iteration. By the time when it does 1, when it goes back to the iteration, it's looking at the second index.
Yeah.
And I now has become 1, which is, it was looking at the first, I don't know.
The second one is the second one. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it will do.
And without this line, what happens?
Well, it will just return 0 all the way.
Okay. So that's why we need it, right? Because we need to change our I every time we the key and the value don't match, right?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take these ones here, and then I'm going to have, so we have search 2, right? Search 2. Then here.
Wait, Lev.
Yeah.
And I could have done, like, you see there where I was saying put I is equals to plus value or something.
Yeah.
We could have placed I as -1, and then there we say I plus 1. Or is it gonna work, right?
Well,
I know it's gonna be a long drive.
We can look at other variations. We're looking at different variations and understanding why they work. So this is just the second one. There's probably going to be 2 more, I think. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm running is the same set here. So I'm actually going to go just so numbers. Actually gonna make that there. And then just use that for both.
And I think you should have commented out that first week.
Which one?
The first one we did, you just changed on it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Next time, just comment it out.
Yeah. So we have 1 and 1, right? You see that. So we're
Mhm.
running as the same list, the same key, right? I can same key there. Same key equals to 2. And then I can just use the key, right? Right? Same list, same key, different functions, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and they give us the same. See, they give us the same answer. We're good, right? So we know that that one works, right? So let's create a third one, right? So of course, Nat, you spoke about right using breaks, right? Yeah. So how would you change this code such that we will use a break rather than the return? So the inner return at least, because you know the other one you're out of your loop anyway. You're out of your loop, so you wouldn't break out of anything, and you only break out of a loop, right? So how would you, without using this return? So I'm going to remove this one. The task is to break out of the for loop as soon as you find it, right? Yeah, and then how would you?
Okay.
How would you do it and make sure that we return the same thing as before? We return the correct index.
Just put break there.
Okay, break, and then
And then out of the for loop, out of the
wait,
for loop,
wait,
just below the break, press enter from break.
wait here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you can do the return there.
No, but when you break here, it gets out of the loop. It doesn't. You'll never get there, right? You actually won't get here.
Wait, there.
Yeah, because you're still in the loop here, right?
You're
So if you're here, you won't get here because you broke out of your loop.
doesn't
So
it break out of the if loop and then still
you want me
in?
to return here? Return there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but breaks out of the for loop. Huh?
Go.
Okay.
Don't you have to return
Line 40?
line 40?
Yeah. Line 40 is, you mean this one? Line 39. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, return I.
Return I.
Oh.
Else. Is that an else thing you can do? Else before.
No, you won't get an else. You're on the right track, but it's there's something missing, but this will only work. This will not work if you don't find it, because it will not return -1. You see that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
I wanted to say else, but it won't work for loop.
No, I'm not seeing what we need to do here.
Can you put an or function
Wait,
on the return?
you can, but it's tricky. We'll look at it some other time. So, oh shit, what are they? So I'm going to do this, right? Result equals to -1, right? Does that make sense?
Not yet.
Okay. Tell me when it does. What? Huh?
Okay, so you'll always be printing out results and then
Returning result, yes?
yes, returning results. So at a time when results, if the if statement is correct, then your result value will change to being I.
Yeah.
But otherwise it will still be that -1.
Yeah.
So previously, what did we do?
We did this one previously. We return there. We just return and then we return there.
When things are correct, we return the I.
Yeah.
When the if statement is correct, okay. Because I've noticed you do this a lot.
What?
With the if statement, it looks like it's always if the statement is correct, then you can do this to return the value you want.
Yeah.
Or you do the function such that the function always return what you want, but if the if statement is correct, it returns.
Yeah. So this is like so there's reasons for the way we do things, right? Like, why do we return here, right? We return because we have already found what we're looking for, right? We don't want to continue with the whole looking at the whole list, even though we found what we're already looking for, right? That's why we return there. The same thing here. We break as soon as we find it because we don't want to look at the whole list because that's resource intensive. Like, you don't want to use resources you're not supposed to use, right? So you don't want to go through the whole list and then that's when you return, right? So here we know as soon as we find it, we set it there, break, and then return the value that we found at the end of our function, right? Well, yeah, well, this one, well, you just return as soon as you find it because you already know, right? So you don't have to break and then go to the end, because this one, it breaks out of the loop and then it goes to this line, right? You see, there's an extra step that it does. But with this one, you just return. You don't go back. You don't go back to the and executing everything underneath. You just return as soon as you find it. Done, right? Yeah. So that's method number 3. There's a fourth one. Well, there's another one. I just want us to look at the fourth one. It's actually something that we've never seen before. Let's say. So I just want us to look at something before. So I'm going to go. And we're going to go for 4, and then we just want to make sure that we get there. So just before we do that, I just want us to look at something quickly. So is this built-in function called enumerate, right? Before I go ahead and explain what it is and what it does, let's just have a look at, okay, well, I'm going to and enumerate. So yeah, actually, before we do that, so it's I printed it out and it said it's an enumerate object, right? So an enumerate object is something that you can iterate on it. It's an iterable, but let's just see what it looks like inside, right? You see what it looks like, and just say if you understand what it looks like, or what it is rather. What is it?
It gives you index and the value of that.
Yeah, you see that. So it gives you the value and the index. So at each and every position, you get a tuple where the first one is the value, and the second one is the first one is the index, and the second one is the value from your list, right? So it basically just merges your index and your value into one, making it one list, right? So meaning like so the reason I wanted to show you that is because that's what we'll be using for our fourth solution. So here we'll just say I'm actually just gonna so for here I'm going to go enumerate. So we enumerate whatever we get, right? So you can enumerate anything that is iterable. So you can enumerate your list, you can enumerate your tuple, you can enumerate your strings, right? So when I do this, when I get here, so just tell me if you remember. You remember this? Do you remember this? You remember this, right? You remember me doing this. What does it do again?
It iterate both of them, both of those.
No. So if I was to say x comma y equals to 1 comma 2, right? Oh, no. You see that, right? X will be 1 and then y will be 3, right? So we unpack our list into variables, right? So since we've already seen that the enumerate gives us and gives us an our index and our value, right? So that means for each position in our enumerate object, like at the first position, at the first position of our enumerate object, we have IB. So we have. So I'm gonna do this item, right? We have item, and then I can say we know that our item consists of what? Our index and our value, right? So I can actually just say that our item is that, right? Because our item is at the first position, we have our index. At the second position, we have our value, right? And if I print this item, we know that it's a tuple where, I mean, we just looked at how enumerate works right now. So let's just run that quick, boom. So we see, no, man, come on. Let's just uncomment this one. I want to remove that. So we have that, right? So we know it ran twice, right? So you have 0 and 1, and then we have 1 and 2, right? And then we returned 1 because our value 2 is the key, right? Yeah, but I'm saying, but our item, we know that our item is a tuple because we're using enumerate here, right?
Yeah.
So I can, maybe I can go items equals to enumerate, right? And then I can say for item and items, we're printing out our item, and our items are tuple, and then we can unpack our tuple by using I and V and value, and then get those things, and that's what we're using in inside our our if statement, right? So I'm going to have our first solution, and then we're just going to return I there. So I don't have so now I avoided doing this here. So I actually just did this here, unpack it. I just unpacked it there. So that we can unpack in our for loop like that. So that's one thing I also wanted to show you. So we can unpack our for loop there. You see that? So now, like the difference between this and the ones that we just did, like well, this one is similar to the other ones. So with this one, we're checking I ourselves. You see that? We're checking I ourselves because we need to keep track of it because we don't know what it is. Here, we're keeping track of this guy, right? So we can call this our value. So this is our.
What are you writing? Value.
Right? So so we know that now in here we're keeping track of our value there using the I that we got, and we're keeping track of our value. Here we're keeping track of our I of our index. In here we're keeping track of the result and I and whatever. But here we're actually not keeping track of anything. Everything is just done for us. You see that? So we know we take enumerate. Enumerate gives us what's this?
Index and the value.
Yeah, index and value. So and then we can use it however we want. So we know that okay, well, sorry?
Index and value.
What did Kosinachi say? Yeah. His internet is what did you say?
I spoke a long time ago. It's the internet.
Yeah, so that we don't have to keep track of anything, right? So we have our for loop and our logic being compact, right? So now we have four searches all giving us the same thing, right? So yeah, just before we end off, I just want to show you another thing. So boom, 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 boom. It's another function similar to enumerate, but it's called zip, right? So if I list one of the items, so items equals to zip 1,2. What do you think a zip does?
It joins them into.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, you're on the right track. Go ahead. Say it, brother.
See, that gets confusing. I was gonna say it joins them into one list.
Well, it joins them into one zip. Yeah, but it's an iterable. So here I'm just making it a list because you won't be able to see it. You'll get a zip object, right? And a zip object, you basically make tuples from. So you'll match 1 with 3, and then 2 with 4, right? You see that? So 1 and 3 will be the first one because they are the things in the first position. You have 1, and then first position there you have 3. So the first one you may have a tuple of 1 and 3, right? So
add another. Come on.
So let's yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. So now you have, so you see now we have like A and B, and then you're mapping that. So 1 is A, 2 is B, right? So you want me to add another number, or let's add C, right? You want me to do that?
No.
What do you
do that anyway?
I want you to do it.
So we still have, yeah, so we still have A and B, right? It's because C does not have a partner, right? So we cannot, it doesn't add it to it. So now if I do this, if I do it the other way, same thing, right? But just you're switching it, right? So it just add, so the list with the smallest items, that's where the match ends, right? So if this was to be, right, come on now, when I do that, you'll just go from A to C and matching the corresponding number. So you only match up to that. So you'll only match the whole list if the lists are equal. Otherwise, you'll match up to the items of the smallest list. You get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to see you add another group of
What do you mean?
values.
ABC,
You see how we have a string
Yeah.
of ABC, and then we have
the list.
the
Yeah.
list, add, comma, something else.
Oh, you want me to add comma?
Dictionary.
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I see it. So zip groups values with a similar index.
With the same index, yeah.
Up to the index of
The smallest one.
the smallest
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Cool. I'm going to add this and I'm going to push it up. Save, brothers. Hey, bro.